order to assume the best, it is necessary to assume that the Secret Service is composed of a ganglion of idiots whose real mission is to protect something which is manifestly less important than their assigned mission, which was to protect the former president. Bottom line first, we are 3 weeks out from the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life, and I think we are now presented with two reasonable possibilities, two reasonable interpretations at a most general level. The first is that high-ranking federal officials wanted Donald Trump dead and arranged for a set of circumstances that would make that end result possible, likely, or certain. This could range from a sloppy and loose, let's look the other way and hope for the best approach to an active and overt conspiracy to assassinate the former president. Let us even grant such persons the narrative that they no doubt have going on in their very own heads, which would be them believing that history will treat them as a slightly more successful Bonhoeffer. That's one option. The second possibility is that they are covering something else up, with that something else being big enough in their eyes that they don't really care if this makes it look like they were complicit in the assassination attempt itself. I say this because everything they are currently doing sure makes it look like they were part of the conspiracy to kill the former president. The thing they are covering up need not be an actual big deal. It just has to be a really big deal in their own imagination. Now, I'm using the term cover-up very broadly here, including activities that don't actually cover anything up, but rather just stall or slow walk any true accountability. I may have used this illustration before, but back when my father was a boy, back when Major League Baseball only had one umpire, there was a player who would run from first to third whenever the ball was hit to the outfield. The one umpire would run out to see the play in the outfield, and the cheater man would run behind him straight to third. Everybody in the stadium could see it, of course, but the umpire didn't. This is like that. Everybody in the country can see what is happening, but their hope is that come November we will still have the same crooked and/or blind umpires. They only have to stonewall for 3 more months, in the hope that the election will keep in power those who are currently in power. If they are the people who wanted Donald Trump dead, this would mean that they would maintain control of the Department of Memory Holding. The FBI report would be finalized, with the somber reflection that mistakes were certainly made, and then the whole thing, egregious lapses and all, would be pitched down the chute. But by that point, President Harris would be finalizing a trade agreement and loan package with the Klingons, and all of us would have other things to worry about. And if my second possibility is the case, and the thing they were hiding from us was the fact that the agent in charge that fateful day in Butler was a purple-haired lesbian Muslim named Bruno Muhammad, then with the election in the rearview mirror, they could continue merrily on with their DEI madness, unburdened by what has been. A biblical parallel. King David once had to deal with the downstream political ramifications of an assassination murder, although in his case the assassination was successful. David had been in negotiations with Abner to reunite all Israel under David, and he had sent Abner away in peace. Joab came in from the field, heard about those negotiations, and was ticked off. He objected strongly and accused Abner of treachery, of intending to spy out David's forces. But this was not really the basis of his hatred of Abner. That man had killed Joab's brother in battle, 2 Samuel 3:30. There was also the possible element of Abner being a rival for Joab's position if the proposed reunification of all Israel were successful. At any rate, Joab summoned Abner back to Hebron, who suspected nothing, and Joab assassinated him there, 2 Samuel 3:27. David recognized that Joab and his clan were too hard for him, 2 Samuel 3:39, meaning he did not have the political capital to remove them. But David did have the ability to communicate to all Israel that he had had nothing to do with the assassination, which he successfully did. He did this by the manner in which he mourned at the funeral of Abner, and all the people took notice of it, and it pleased them, as whatsoever the king did pleased all the people. For all the people and all Israel understood that day that it was not of the king to slay Abner the son of Ner. 2 Samuel 3:36 and 37. David knew that it was not enough to have known nothing about it. It was insufficient to be technically prim and evasive at a congressional hearing. In short, David acted nothing at all like Secret Service and the FBI are currently acting. To protect the precious. Unfortunately, by this point, assuming the best of the Secret Service means an attribution of grotesque incompetence, with a great deal of that incompetence being displayed not just on the day of the shooting, but in the waffling and dithering of the aftermath. In order to assume the best, it is necessary to assume that the Secret Service is composed of a ganglion of idiots whose real mission is to protect something which is manifestly less important than their assigned mission, which was to protect the former president. Something really remarkable is going on here. When it comes to protecting the precious, whatever that precious is, the bad guys are pulling out all the stops. This is happening in a certain context, which is a time when a second Trump administration is being treated by many within the Beltway as an existential threat. For example, the upper echelons of the FBI would be among those who think a Trump return would be an existential threat. And so who was assigned the task of investigating the assassination attempt? Ah, yes. Does anyone actually think that a report on Butler issued by the FBI is going to be accepted by anybody? When Trump was elected in 2016, the intelligence community swung into action to hogtie him, telling a bunch of lies in the process. Russia, Russia, Russia. For those who do not yet know, Russia is a big country next to a little country called Ukraine. Far from being punished for their part in these shenanigans and misdeeds, it now looks like Peter Strzok and Lisa Page are going to be given a settlement of a couple $1 million. Lies enabled by the intelligence community led to a couple of impeachment runs, and then when it looked like he was going to run in 2020 as an incumbent with a decent economy, the CDC and health establishment arranged for the asteroid shower of lockdown panic to hit the country amidships. And then when the 2024 campaign started to gear up, a spate of bogus trials were launched, thus beclowning the legal system and Justice Department. But all of these attempts kept blowing up or bouncing off, and so what was left but assassination? Trump, that miscreant, was forcing their hand. They had wanted to do things quietly, but Trump kept threatening democracy by appealing to voters. So I don't know what the precious is, but it must be really something. Either that or it is old-fashioned politics, the kind that Julius Caesar found out about that time. Some might say that their arsenal has to be nearly empty by this point, and that as soon as Kamala is forced to start talking again, the presidential campaign will return to our normal factory settings, and we will have a regular election. And surely Trump would win in a fair and honest election, right? Well, sure, but what makes you think we're having one of those? Every element of this presidential campaign thus far has been a gaudy spectacle and a misbegotten clutch of smashed eggs, deathmatch in a cage. This slow walk approach is only going to work if Trump is defeated in November. If he wins, then there will be an actual investigation, actual accountability, which will mean the end of the line for some bad actors. That means that between now and November, these bad actors know that they are in a deathmatch. It is him or them. Anybody who thinks that they won't try some other stuff between now and then is extraordinarily naive. We are not looking at an old-fashioned October surprise or dirty tricks, like some critical remarks on J.D. Vance's 7th grade report card being leaked to the press. We are talking about, I don't know, war with Iran, or climate change election postponement, or a terrorist nuke being set off in Baltimore. The key for us is this: do not believe any official narrative that emanates from the D.C. area or from any mainstream media outlet. If the weather guy announces that the sun is going to rise in the east tomorrow, you should squint at him quizzically. You should squint that way because it is going to be connected to a climate change lecture. Fortunately, this skepticism I'm urging is a task that has been made a lot easier by the behavior of our institutions over the last few years. Name an official institution that has not been laboring mightily and successfully to divest itself of all credibility through various duplicitous monkeyshines. I mean the military, the media, Congress, the Justice Department, the CDC, the colleges and universities, the governor of Minnesota, you know, the lot. Nobody believes anybody anymore, and this is reinforced by the widespread postmodern relativism everywhere. This has opened the door to off-the-chain conspiracy thinking. Some are even saying that Michelle Obama is a tranny, and others have gone so far as to say that Kamala is black. The only major American institution with any remaining credibility about their mission appears to be Pornhub. But for Christians, this is time to rejoice in the fact that there's never been a time when it is clear to everybody that man is not in control. And so it is time to turn to the God who is. Greetings all, my name is Douglas Wilson, the host of Man Rampant. Man Rampant is officially back with a new season on Canon Plus. This coming season features episodes on fighting abortion in your state, the Christian artist, and how if you're not paranoid, you're crazy. We hope you enjoy it, and if you can't bring yourself to enjoy it, we at least hope you can stare at the screen bug-eyed.